good living. Majority people are irritating, frustrated, the same as America. That is Brexit. Italia, five-star movement, the same. And they are very much worried about technocrat.
So if that movement is going to continue, like
why? This is exactly current world order.
So the world order has become, so what you're describing is that the world order has progressed too far. So we have too many pacts, we have too many agreements, we have too many transnational collaborations that normal people do not feel that they are represented anymore. So they want out, they want to re-establish it. So that means a kind of disintegration of the world.
Yes, disintegration.
But if that's going to happen, how are we going to maintain peace and stability?
This is a problem. They don't know what the best solution. But they are ordinary people in the world. They want to negative opinion for the technocrat, or it means the top government organization. They don't like it.
But it's anymore. Very dangerous, I think. It's very dangerous.
Exactly like before Hitler. Exactly, it's very dangerous. American dangerous. Oh, Trump is good? No, I don't think so. But in the former Obama administration, what he did, but actually I didn't get any more money. Past 30 years, that's only salaries, 20% increase, GDP 200%, okay, healthcare 800%. What country is happening here? We cannot patient anymore, right? I can't go hospital. Okay, exactly, you can't go hospital. You need to pay, not 1,009, 3,009. No, I can't pay that so much money for hospital. This is actually happening. So, what is the new government? What the new society? Nobody knows. But many British, Italy, and America, and ordinary people frustrating.
But what is creating the stability at the moment that we have seen for actually? I think in Europe we have seen a period of unparalleled in history without any wars on the European mainland. That's part of the results of this integration of the EU and building up pacts and understanding and creating mutual dependence that actually you cannot afford to wage a war because you're basically hurting your own economy.
Oh, okay. Europe is what big problem is.
And how does this compare with the technology? No? Because the technology now is actually making the world completely open. So this is so on the political level we are dividing the world again, and then on the technological level we're completely integrating.
Yeah, open market is everybody accepted. But problem is like a EU organization. They have toilet paper restriction, 100 of those, many kind of restriction, many standard. EU organized big parliament, they don't do actually nothing. But EU is not the government, only the financial.
So everybody agrees that the EU is not efficient, is not agile, and there's a lot of local vested interest.
So Trump wants to scratch it out. Okay, if you're going to keep NATO,
but it's missing the bigger point that actually these maybe they are not efficient, maybe they're not effective, and maybe they're doing a lot of things wrong, but they're doing a lot of things right too.
But they cannot change it. Too big.
So,
and
okay, but
then, for example, first of all, Trump touching NATO is NATO. Okay, he don't want to pay money, and America pay 45% of total NATO of GDP 44.5%, and the British Germany only 1% contribution GDP to NATO. It's not fair, he said.
The United States pays 45% to NATO.
America paid to NATO.
45%
no,
of the GDP?
4.5.
4.5.
And America, Trump said, this is not fair. Why? What benefit?
Well, it's not fair. I completely agree. But it's also American geopolitics. Like they get a lot of political weight.
No. What is he literally thinking about this is, okay, we what he's thinking for EU, okay? We need to back to basic. What is a fair play? What is the fairness? What is the trading fairness? What is the protection for French wine?
But you know,
What's the
I
protection
understand it.
on that, cheese?
I completely understand it, but it's going back in history, and it's going back to a situation where we're going to renegotiate everything from start to end, which is completely kind of eliminating the vested interest that basically the point of the EU, the point of all these pacts and integrations and these international collaborations is to integrate the world, to make sure that it's not a single issue point we're talking about. We're talking about the EU, for crying out loud. We need to make compromises because as a whole, the end objective is not the price for wine.
No, he's thinking
the price is war or not war.
No,
stability.
He's thinking about now is he tried to make a country by country agreement.
Right.
Okay, it means not EU. Okay. Not NAFTA,
right?
Not TTP.
Exactly.
Every country,
as he should, because America is the strongest economic player.
No. He's true mind. Okay, he tried to start fair trade with every country.
Right.
Okay.
But it foregoes what I just said, right? I think the idea in itself is okay, but it foregoes the bigger picture that we are more than a fair price for the bottle of wine that we're importing, or the import duties that are being leveraged on milk for my farmers. The much bigger picture is that we want to have vested interest in each other, and we want to create stability so that we will not go to war again. And
yeah, he want to make agreement with Netherlands. Netherlands for just
but if we are
America
going bigger over these small items again, then we're going back to the situation.
America, we're going to want an agreement with Netherlands. It's just only everything free.
Yeah, but so Uno-san, that means that the whole idea of integration of okay, give and take a little, not negotiating on product by product base, maybe I could see that improves, that it increases the efficiency and the way that we are talking about. When we're talking about milk, we're talking about milk. We're not talking about anything else, and then we're going through that from article to article, and we can get much better deals, much more efficient, much more lean deals.
Simple. He don't consider for the relationship Canada, Mexico, forget it. He don't think of 11 countries TPP, forget it. He don't think of the trading within EU,
right.
Forget it. He just forget every kind of local.
But okay, those things are not only designed to improve trade and whatever. They're also designed to actually create stability among these countries, to actually to further integrate these nations with each other.
So he wanted to deny it.
Yeah.
Okay, he's.
I'm saying that's dangerous.
He is talking pure mind, okay? But this is not realistic, I agree with you. But he's a strange character. He speaks what he saw. He's attainable. After that, what going to do, what he's thinking about. No, he don't think it. But just regional trading, kind of specific countries agreement, he thinks it's not good. We just forget it, screen out everything. Just see the idea.
I must say, like, for example, I don't think there is anybody in Europe who's happy with how the EU is operating in terms of efficiency and how they are implementing their policies, etc. Everybody hates it.
So what he tried to do is, whatever you say, scratch out. What is his strategy?
Yeah, but okay, you solve the problem of the EU not functioning properly, but on the other hand, you're creating an environment that is similar to the end of World War II, when we were at the risk of actually going into World War III, because Europe has been...
No, he's not he's not the solver, okay? He's destroyer. And who's going to solve problem? He don't care. He doesn't care who's going to solve problem. Okay, I'm destroyer. I don't like unfair. But always thinking about, I don't like unfair. What is fair? No answer. But Canada, his secret phone call, told you don't worry about that. You have 8,800 borders. You can do whatever you like. You think about not take seriously. What he's talking about. I can guess. Right? For Canada, I'll build a heavy wall all over, very broad borders. They have. It's almost impossible. He want to make a border.
It's impossible.
Two issues. One is illegal immigrant. Second issue
It's
is
not an issue. It's not really an issue.
narcotics.
Narcotics. Yeah,
and
but
illegal immigrant.
people are not going to walk narcotics across the
two
border.
issues. Even if they make a wall, no solution.
Absolutely not.
Everybody knows.
Nobody's going to walk.
He knows that. But Trump, why he want to make a wall? Do you know why?
Visualize
I
his
told you last
policy.
week. Huh?
To visualize his policy.
No. He just.
For his contract, because Blackwater.
He got a lot of money. He want to make a 1 mile wall. He got $1 million. He's in his pocket. He want to do that. No reason. Any other reason does he have? No. Illegal immigrant he can avoid. He can avoid by just wall. No, it's impossible.
It's ridiculous.
And 7 factories, American factories, they disappeared in Mexico. Those blue workers, what they going to do? They try to sneak into the States. Where they don't going to people get work? They're going sneak into the States. They're looking for work, but border patrol cannot control it.
And I'm sure that the factory owners, if they are confronted with border control and import duties, they want those Mexican workers to work into their factories because they're probably going to be cheaper than the Americans.
And do you know the Obrador, new president? Obrador is very similar to the Venezuela.
In Mexico.
Dictator. So he's just going to be dictator. It means he tries to beat people. So it means they have, not Venezuela, they have 100 million population in Mexico. Many people escape to the States. Escape to States, what's happening? Do you know what's happening? All those Texas, California, Arizona, all those areas, former Mexican land. Majority people are Mexican anyway. They speak in Spanish there.
Of course. Los Angeles. You don't think that's English, is it?
Do you know the Los Angeles airport?
It's Spanish.
Yeah. No white people Los Angeles airport. They are government officers.
Yeah.
Spanish.
But the name is even Spanish.
Yeah.
It's New Mexico. Nothing new about it. It's Mexico.
Yeah. So it means this is obvious. So Canada, Mexico is the same. What's wrong? So many people, it looks like Trump is doing a bad word, but he understands. Okay, but he's racist. Okay, but what he's speaking out is useless. He understands. Oh, he took lunch.
Takai-san is eating lunch.
Lunch.
Shall I get a cup of coffee?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay.
Would you mind if I shut down the air conditioner for a while?
I cleaned up.
Oh, okay.
You misunderstand, right?
Okay. Oh, I wonder. I seem to feel it, but
you,
okay. You had it cleaned?
Yeah, I cleaned up.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's strange.
We just
maybe it's psychological then.
Yeah, psychological. Just cleaned up.
Okay.
No smell. Okay, you going to take a coffee? Just take a break.
Okay. Would you like hot coffee? Or?
Yeah, please. Yeah. It's very interesting, right?
It's very interesting. It's very interesting.
I wrote a book. This is Canada and Mexico, and I started Obrador and also Canada. This is what my soul.
Well, I also think it's very interesting what you're saying about Israel.
Israel, okay, he wants to get the second Peace Nobel Award. This year or next year. And kick out Netanyahu and kill Hamas. Then problem will going to be solved. Yeah, West Bank.
I don't know how easy. Well, Netanyahu, I believe, but Hamas they have a lot of ground root support with the Palestinian people. It's very, very difficult to. Well, maybe he doesn't care.
And also, Hamas is very close connection to Hezbollah, but Trump cannot beat Hezbollah.
Hezbollah is Iran, right?
No, in Lebanon.
Yeah, but it's supported
Iran,
by Iran.
That's right. So he cannot beat Iran.
No.
Iran is just one country. Trump cannot touch it. Yemen cannot touch it. So Iranian relating issue matters. American cannot touch it. Yes, it's currently he tried to do some nuclear deal, some beat them, but that's it, not more than that. Iran is so strong.
So Saudi Arabia, he has good connections.
Saudi Arabia is Trump believes, oh, that guy no power. Okay, beforehand they had a big oil, lots of money, but not anymore. He believes no power. Middle East is governed by Iran, right? So he tried to put sanctions for them, like put a sanction for Russia. The same. He don't want to get power in the Middle East. But who's going to get it? Saudi Arabia? No, they don't have power. And Salman is not so much clever.
No.
Okay, so that's it. It's currently okay in his mind. He want to get more, his position, private position stable, get more money, and he want the Nobel Prize. One is Obama get, but he should seek for two. He's a kind of person, never one, two. Right?
Would you like some snack or something else?
No, you
Oh, Takai-san, you're back. Gome, I'm just going to because you were out for a bit. I'm just going to get some coffee. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh my God, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock. First video. Ah, do we need the projector or something?
Somebody will come.
Ah. Ima sugu?
I don't know. Maybe within an hour.
Oh, okay. So how did we end up talking about Trump?
Just move. Just
Right.
just move. The Somya called me. What time afternoon session is start? Beach.
Is it? He just joined UNO school for the first time.
No.
Of course, I know.
He's
Yeah.
Western, but he told me he's supposed to come this afternoon. He told me he's supposed. Many strange questions. This is one of my former student asked question is he's going to have some morning seminar 6:30 on August 10th. Can you come there? No, I don't go. Why I should go there? Shinjuku station 6:30.
6:30 in the morning?
But I'm going to the breakfast meeting at the Tokyo station every month because not far, it's close. But Shinjuku is very far. If 6:30 I need to join, I need to wake up to 5.
6:30 is ridiculous.
Yeah. But I just taking concept of balance of the attendings. I'm not more than 3 times.
Okay.
And actually, I prepared the seminar tomorrow. I finished yesterday.
What kind of organization are you? So university, you said, but
what? Tomorrow? Democracy. The history
but
of democracy.
is it a university in Tokyo?
No. This is a private university. This is a small size, and 50% audience, and internet connected 150. And I'm going to 2 hours presentation. I prepared material for them, and but this is democracy is not easy. I just put a lot of material for Japanese spirit background, democracy background, but I'm not sure whether they will understand my opinion is. They are not familiar with my opinion. They try to come there. What is democracy? No, not what is democracy. What is Japanese democracy? And almost all people believe Japanese democracy is not good. But I'm talking about Japanese democracy is the best in the world. But they don't believe me. They don't believe me. So I don't know what kind of reaction they're going to make it.
Well, I mean, I think actually it depends on how you look at democracy. If you look at democracy as a critical process where there's a free exchange of opinions and where the argument, the quality of the argument wins the day, the pure form of democracy, then maybe Japan is not so strong.
Okay, but this is your common definition. It's a normal democracy. But I didn't tell anything about democracy. That country's people are happy or not. Democracy standard. Your Dutch people happy, or your American people happy. American people are not happy. It means that's not democracy. That's the reason why they change the society. Right? Trump can solve it? No, he cannot solve it. But he's just against current orthodox leadership.
So you're not measuring the level of democracy, or not saying anything about
election?
How it works,
No.
but more or less
Media
what the
freedom?
outcome
No.
is.
Outcome.
So what is the happiness of people? People in Japan are more content
Yeah, I just
than other countries.
This one.
Are they more content, or are they less inclined to go against the will of the others.
What do you say?
Are Japanese voters more content, or are they less inclined to go against the will
No,
of...
follow the current government. No against. That's the reason I strange people. They are very much influenced Confucianism. I don't feel. Okay.
You're not connected to a power supply? Oh, you are connected to power supply. No, it's fine. So if you say best democracy, I think you really need to explain what you mean with why is it best. It's best because the people of Japan are most...
They're happy or not? Very
yeah,
simple.
but are they happy, or are they just not going against? Are they taught not to go against the will?
Not against, happy. Lot of complaint, lot criticize, it means happy.
Asuka. So then we are in the Netherlands. We're also very happy people then.
Yeah,
we also complain a lot.
Because they're happy. Right? American people is actually not happy because not middle class. They are just 50,000 US dollars annual. No, 25,000 US dollars annual revenue. People is more than 30%. It's critical. Okay, so they are not happy. Who's going to treat them because of the rich people? Richer, poor people, poor. This is the current American. That's irritating. British the same, Italian same, right? France, German, no, not yet. Problem.
$25,000 US.
Yeah.
That's not a wealthy life, but it's not something that.
Poverty.
Well, it's poverty if you need television, Netflix, iPhone. If you need a
everything
car,
they have,
if
but
you,
everything they have, cars, iPhone, Netflix, they everything they have, but poor. They cannot go to university.
No.
Right.
But I would say then you don't have your
What
priority.
is the most important is education, but they cannot send their children to the university. It's poor. That's the reason Bernie Sanders has got a high vote, because okay, I make a commitment, everybody can go to university. This is big impact, big point. Hillary Clinton, she is an orthodox president, so nobody like her, right? So they try to pick anybody rather than orthodox leader.
Somebody who is
exactly
continuing.
So he can sustain, he can give them satisfaction for other people. Other people don't care, but current leader, he don't like it. They don't like it.
Right. But that seems to be everywhere. Eh? I mean, that's.
Japan is a strange country. Japan people hate current government. No. They complain. Yes, complain. They criticize, or they voting is diet members is not good people, but they don't care. They satisfied. And prime minister is some.
But they just don't vote.
Huh?
I mean, the turnout rate for Japanese elections is ridiculously low.
Don't care because they don't worry about that. That's the reason why ridiculous law. They believe they don't need to go to vote. Nothing wrong. No
Right.
problem. Okay, just everybody.
Just keep it stable, keep it going.
Yeah, middle-aged people say, okay, we need to consider for democracy. So that's the reason why you go to vote. On the older people thinking bullshit. What's wrong? Okay.
This is.
What's wrong for Abe? Okay. What's wrong? Abe is telling a lie for his school, something like that. Older people, they believe this. I don't care. Only the opposite party care. Nobody care. This is true. Newspaper, they don't do nothing to write, so he's just writing the kind of tidbit art news newspaper. I don't want to read, This is kind of Japan. No claim, no problem.
Right.
Please side, but what's wrong? What's wrong with that? Right? So Japan is peace. So many people, I just speak out. People tomorrow, audience, Japan is democracy is so terrible. Okay, just that member is knowledge level so low, their opinion so crazy. What you say? America is more crazy. Okay, need to compare with. I just observe global. I'm talking about this. I show slide for them, but they're going to answer it. What hell they're talking about, Uno-san? You're crazy, aren't you? No, you are crazy because you just read in Japanese newspaper. Japanese newspaper itself is, you believe this is traditional, you believe this is very alright. Yes, they don't never tell a lie, but this is very portion of the world. Just only you know the leg of the elephant. All information on global what's happening you don't know, right? So you just different opinion against opinion for me. Okay, you are right, but just only the make opinion from deep well. Okay, I know the whole global level, deep well, but you don't know nothing at all. But you believe this you're talking about right, and in your world maybe right.
Can I skip forward?
What
Actually, this is. I want you to see this.
If you write anything on your computer,
sorry.
you need to get Grammarly.
I write pretty much all day, every day. Republic, in which he describes probably better than anyone before or since the nature of reality. He does it by telling a story about prisoners who have been chained since birth in a dark cave facing.
This is what you're talking about. You're talking from a well. You're talking from you don't know the reality. You're talking about the elephant's leg.
Why don't you go and start from the first? This is.
So actually, the beginning is not so interesting. This is about Plato. This is explaining Plato's reality. Yeah.
Public, in which he describes probably better than anyone before or since the nature of reality. He does it by telling a story about prisoners who have been chained since birth in a dark cave facing a blank wall. All kinds of people and objects pass behind the prisoners, and a fire casts the shadows of those things onto the wall in front of the prisoners. These shadow images are all the prisoners ever see, so they come to understand the shadows as reality. Now just hold up a minute and imagine what your view of the world would be like if all you've ever seen are shadows. You wouldn't know that there was anything more. 3D wouldn't even be a concept for you. The prisoners spend their whole lives understanding only this shadow reality, until one day one of them escapes from his chains and crawls into the daylight. After spending a lifetime in firelit darkness, the man is blinded by the sun at first, but in time he comes to see the things outside of the cave are far more real than the shadow images that he once took for reality. They have more substance. They occupy an extra dimension. Think about how that would feel to suddenly realize that everything you believed just minutes ago turned out to be merely faint outlines of reality. This is what happens to a lot of the characters who inhabit the world of Inception. Once they realize there can be multiple layers of reality, they never look at the world around them the same way again, and for many of them, the experience becomes intoxicating. This is also what happens to Plato's escaped prisoner. He goes back into the cave to tell his friends the exciting news about what he's found, but the conversation doesn't go the way he thinks it will. He expects them to be amazed by his discovery. He figures they'll be as eager to join him as he is anxious to get back. But they all think he's crazy. As far as they're concerned, he's babbling about some higher reality that they've never seen or heard of or have any evidence for. To make matters worse, going back into the firelit cave after being in the sunlight temporarily blinds the man again. So from his friend's perspective, his journey into the outside world has actually damaged him, because now he can't even see the shadow images that were once his whole world. Now, you don't have to be Plato or Christopher Nolan to dream this stuff up. In fact, you might have experienced a diluted version of this kind of of reality shock for yourself. For example, do you remember your first teddy bear? That bear was, philosophically speaking, your only contact with and your only way of understanding the concept of a bear. Then one day you went to a zoo or a wildlife refuge or a national park and you saw an actual bear. And suddenly you realized that your previous understanding of bear was way off. Bears don't have little button eyes and smiles made of thread. They're not soft. You couldn't hug one. The bear you spent your first years of life snuggling with was just a shadowy imitation of the reality of bareness. Now check out this somewhat more mature example. Maybe you were the first member of your tweeny group of friends to discover the wonders of romantic attraction. You might have felt like your eyes were open to a whole new world that your pals were still blind to. And when you tried to explain to them what had happened to you and how you felt, they probably thought you were crazy, and the feeling was probably mutual. And this is what our poor protagonist goes through as he re-enters the cave. So why does Plato tell us this story? It's not just about the little aha moments when we discovered that bears and boys were not what we once thought they were. It's more than that. Plato wants us to see that we, right now, are prisoners in a cave. Everything in our world is actually a mere shadow of a higher reality. Just as the man in the story once mistook shadows for real things, we are currently prisoners in a cave of our own. But rather than mistaking shadows for the material objects of the ordinary world, our mistake is thinking that the material objects of the ordinary world are the most real things. In fact, Plato says, the physical world that we think is the most real is actually a mere shadow of a higher truth. If this surprises you, think about how many beliefs were once accepted as absolute fact only to later turn out to be completely false. The shape of the earth, the idea that the earth was the center of the universe, the belief that heroin and tobacco and lobotomies were good for people. Those so-called facts turned out to be far from the truth. So there's a lot packed into this little story. Plato is urging you to consider that the world is not really as it seems, and making a statement about philosophy. Doing philosophy is hard. Accepting that much of what you've always believed might actually be false can make you uncomfortable. You might feel temporarily blinded. You may learn just enough to know that your old beliefs aren't reliable, but you don't yet know enough to feel comfortable with these new ideas either. What's more, your old friends who aren't on this journey with you might think you've lost your mind. Or they might take you for an arrogant, pedantic jerk who thinks they have all the answers. But philosophy is also awesome, because once you get through the growing pains, you can see things in a new way, and you can see through things that used to fool you. And that brings us to another puzzle. Consider this argument. No cat has two tails. Every cat has one more tail than no cat. Therefore, every cat.
So the idea of Plato is basically the idea of what we think in Japan as being the reality, and what you're going to talk about tomorrow is say, well, okay, basically, you are not familiar with reality, because what you see are merely the shadows on the wall of the cave in Plato's cave, not that which is not the reality. The reality is much bigger than that.
But it's very difficult to explain them.
Right. So you will get resistance, like the escaped prisoner who came back into the cave.
How are we going to do this? If I'm going to talk with you, maybe you understand. Okay, we did a lot, so you understand what I said. But if I'm going to first time speak out those people, like a current world, your current world is shadow world, but nobody believed it. Uno-san, you're telling a lie.
Well, okay, so but basically maybe you should more put a lot of emphasis, not on facts, I think actually on making likely to people to understand that they are living in a well.
How are they going to explain them? Okay, the difficulty is always my difficulty is, it's very difficult to explain them. They are living in a well because they never seen outer world. So you are living well. What are you talking about? Is this world? No, this is our world is world.
So basically, if you can make clear to people that okay, how many people of you are reading The Economist? How many people are reading the Wall Street Journal? How many people are familiar with the history of Islam? How many people know about European colonialism? What is your take on Western philosophy? These questions, a lot of people will think, okay,
No, none of those.
Okay, so if people cannot say yes, 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 yes to all these questions, to say, okay, so what do you feel is your grasp of reality? Is our reality? Every single person's reality is limited by whatever he can see. So we need to accept the fact that we are actually living in a well, and this well, particularly well in Japan, is being very well protected by the media and by the news that is that is reaching you on a daily basis. This is the food. This is the energy that fuels our discussions. It all comes from through this very small funnel, well-controlled funnel, that gives you a sense of reality, but it's not the reality.
Overseas, especially overseas European American people, they can make communication with Japanese people. They almost 99% discarded this kind of background, Japanese background, right?
Right.
And they don't talk with them kind of issues. Even if they cannot complete mutual understanding, they are discarding kind of miscommunication, abandoning. Because many people they thought the kind of effort is useless.
Right.
Whatever you say, this is my feeling.
I think if you can achieve something tomorrow, then it's basically letting people see that they are living in a well, and that what their impression is very much fueled by is very much driven by the fuel that they receive from Japanese media, where everybody is copying each other's opinion. But if you actually look outside of the well and you look at how well democracy is organized in the United States, then Japan is actually not doing so bad. So you need to spend, I would recommend you to spend a lot of time talking about the well, and then actually say, okay, well, if you look outside of this well, if you really study, if you look at the sources, and you look at the American sources, and you look at what is really happening out there, we believe, because we are taught to believe so through education, that the American democratic system is the best in the world. It's not.
No.
So there's your story.
But Japanese people believes white people is superior than yellow colored people.
Well, fortunately, you know better.
Right? But tell the truth. Can they recognize these white people, Palestinian people, or American people? They cannot. Do you know Palestinian woman is almost the same as white woman? Cannot recognize. Little bit sunburn. You know?
Right.
Face is very similar.
So, well, just like Israeli.
Syrian
It's the same.
people, Syrian immigrant cannot recognize these European people. No.
Most of them are ethnically a little bit different from
No.
West European.
I show you something. I can see it or not, but
I've been there for a couple of weeks. So yeah.
He will come in soon later. Okay, I show you. I show you. Okay. You said Iran? Iran?
No. We're talking about Syria.
Oh, Syria. Oh. This is Syrian woman.
Right.
This is Syrian woman. Exactly the same as the white woman. Okay? You cannot recognize she's come from. If she's talking about, okay, I'm came from Philadelphia, believe it.
Well, I would actually think of her more Turkish, Eastern European.
No, cannot. I can't recognize.
Really?
She's, yeah, no.
I can.
No, I cannot. Who? How about her?
Well, she has her hair dyed, of course.
It doesn't matter. It's the same as American people. Like, how about her? How about she is? And how about that one? Oh, she
is the queen.
queen.
Right. She's not of Syrian birth.
How about this young woman?
Yeah, but she could be from the Middle East. Yeah,
No,
definitely.
even if she's talking about she's living in Chicago, nobody doubt it. Okay, so for Japanese, I met with a lady, and she's white skin. She doesn't recognize she's come from Syria. This is Japanese.
Well, okay,
point.
but so for me it's easier to see that she's from that area.
Yeah, this is also Syria.
But I mean, so for example, she could also be from eastern part of Russia for me, for Kazakhstan.
Oh, okay. Russia is. I'm going to show you. Russia woman is 100% you don't understand. 100% you don't understand where she come from. Right?
Right. Well, so yeah.
Okay, I show you this one. It's impossible. Any woman. Okay, this is Russia.
Not entirely.
This is typical Russian. I know that because I studied Russia. This
So
is Russian.
actually, we have the house next to where I live. They have a lot of Russian models living there.
Yeah, this is.
They look a little bit like the blonde.
Yeah, this is
kind
like
of, yeah.
exactly like this. Okay.
Yeah.
This is Russia. Who going to distinguish from Russian and American? Now they
I
can.
can. I see it.
No, you cannot.
I can.
You can. You should have a look.
Seriously, Uno-san, I can.
No,
I see it.
Some of those you can, but
But-
not all.
I know. It's strange, but I can even tell the difference in.
No. You can. Okay, I went Russian club, Kinshicho, and Russian beautiful women. They are just working there. I can't recognize. They are so beautiful. Oh my God.
Yeah, but there are a lot of
Same.
extremely beautiful women in Russia.
Yeah. So, if you're going to recognize a fat woman is like this, oh, she's come from maybe Russia. But
Yeah,
this is Russian woman.
there's a very big gap between a Russian woman who's younger than 30 and who's older than 30.
Yeah, because they are picking beautiful girl only,
Right.
so very difficult to recognize. Okay, this is Russian woman.
Yeah, but they're famous, Uno-san. Actually, in the Netherlands, it's like a big race to get married to a Russian woman or to get a Russian woman because they are very beautiful.
Oh, for Japanese is if I'm single, I had better get married with Russian woman. Very easy. I don't pay
Until
so much.
you got married to her because
I don't pay not so much money for her. I can get it,
well, but
without heavy communication. Right?
but
But what?
大変だよ. Russian
Oh,
woman.
current my wife is
Very
more
strong.
Current wife more strong. You know.
So Russian woman is very
It
tight.
doesn't matter. Just I experienced many bad women experience a lot. My wife is worse. It's no more than worse.
You're recording or no?
Recording, yes. But just sometimes is
She's watching, you know.
she's watching and just how to erase this. And sometimes I forget it. She just complain me. You tell a lie. You tell a lie.
I
for
wish.
Me. You tell a lie for me. Okay.
I think, yeah. How come you all have my videos here, the ones that I watched, but
What?
There's a lot of videos here that I watched, so I was wondering how come. But you're logged in with my account, no?
No. It's very easy. Just I never use this account. This account, Safari. I'm usually using Chrome. So open Safari account. I can open this one.
Right.
Only your presentation is Safari.
Right.
Just close down and open the Safari account. Then this slide coming up.
No. So why I wanted to show you this is because what you were talking about that you will have to explain to people tomorrow that. It's
Okay.
Plato.
Yeah, I'm going to change my slide tonight.
Okay.
Tonight is 15 years my company establishment party. Tonight.
Really? Oh.
15 years company establishment day, July 7th.
7/7. Tanabata.
Yes.
Oh.
7% will come.
Oh. Well, I will meet a recruiter.
No, you don't need to come because just only I eat sushi.
Mm.
Okay, this 10,000 I charge, but I pay 20,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Mm.
But the available seat is 6. So, but today is 7 or 8.
Mm.
I don't know how to handle, but
Okay.
difficult to just to control people.
I
What
see.
you going to do next?
Okay. Let's go back where we were. I was going to go to Christianity, World War I, World War II. So we were talking about resources and how they actually, and the belief about resources, the necessity of resources, and why wars are actually fought over resources, in this case food, as a dimension to understand why certain decisions were made. For example, to attack Soviet Union at the time, which seems like an ultimately stupid move, but not if you put it in the context of the view of that Hitler had at that time, of how he could win, or how he could establish the thousand year lasting empire. Okay. Speech. Triumph des Willens from Adolf Hitler.
This is Dutch?
German.
German? No, German language?
I just want you to show. I want to show you him as a driver of the.
I like Nazi anthem.
Hmm.
Do you know that?
So it makes you feel good, the show.
Nazi anthem.
Right.
It's the best anthem in the world.
Ah, that's Deutschland, Deutschland über alles.
No. This is currently their country's anthem.
So alle Menschen werden Brüder, but they changed the lyrics.
No, very much. Nazi anthem is more encouragement.
Mm. So, but it's I know actually, because like the
Do you know what is the Nazi anthem?
the Hitler Jugend would come to
No, maybe you don't know.
visit Japan.
Maybe you don't know that. This one is I think I try to open. Okay, this maybe you don't know that.
Well, it's like the from Soviet Union, the Internationale, the international.
Oh, I like Putin.
So
Do you know the
anthem.
No. Do you know the?
And with an H, yep.
Do you know the Russian national anthem?
The current one. No, I like the previous one when they were Soviet Union. That one was good.
No, current one is very good.
Oh.
This is prohibited.
Mm.
This is prohibited.
Okay.
This is Nazi anthem. Do you know this?
Yeah, I heard it.
This is the best anthem in the world. This is Soviet Union.
This one.
Soviet Union.
So.
This is Soviet Union. This is very similar to current one. Right?
So it is.
I can read this.
Ah, really?
Yeah.
So bombastic. It's like France also has a national anthem that is a bit like this.
I like current. I like current one. This one. してみれば。
You can sing along, Takahashi-san. 大丈夫. You can sing along if you want. This is the. Do you know the socialist anthem, the Internationale?
Yeah, of course.
Anthem.
No,
Yeah,
this
I
one,
think
this one. This one.
Yeah.
Stand up, all victims of oppression.
Just a weak version, but.
No, this one. No, so this one.
Better.
This one.
Oh, this is it. Tom. They made a good song for this.
Yeah. I like this one.
Katusha?
Russian military event.
I always see people drinking when I.
No, Russian, parade is different from the rest of the world. How different it is, you can understand this. Russian military is very interesting. Have a look. Have a look. Different. Different. What different do you know? Do you know what the difference from any other country?
I don't know. They're more sexy, no?
No, different. Russian women soldiers different. Have a look.
They wear skirts?
No. Have a look. Smiling.
Ah.
Smiling everywhere. Only Russian military smiling. Only Russian military women smiling. I never see it any other country. They are smiling, everybody.
Right.
I don't know. This is their
Then
nationality.
they kill you.
Their nationality.
Then they kill you.
Okay? This is their nationality. Okay.
This is Chrome. I think maybe you want to keep this. This is okay. So, Triumph des Willens. the triumph of willpower.
When? 1936?
So this is early years
36.
of Adolf.
36.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah, push blue one. Prohibited
yeah,
show.
okay.
Bad for education. His. Oh, this is.
No, he's. Er spricht der Führer.
Oh, 34. Do you understand what he said?
Yeah.
Really?
My German is as good as my English.
Der 6. Parteitag der Bewegung geht zu Ende. Was für Millionen Deutsche, die außerhalb unserer Reihen stehen. Vielleicht nur als imposantestes Schauspiel politischer Machtentfaltung gewertet wird, war für die Hunderttausende der Kämpfer unendlich mehr. Das große persönliche und geistige Treffen der alten Streiter und Kampfgenossen. Und vielleicht hat mancher unter ihnen trotz der zwingenden Großartigkeit dieser Herrscher unserer Partei sich wehmütigen Herzens zurückbesonnen in jene Tage, da es noch schwer war, Nationalsozialist zu sein. Denn als unsere Partei gerade 7 Mann hoch war, sprach sie schon 2 Grundsätze aus. Erstens, sie wollte eine wahrhaftige Weltanschauungspartei sein. Und zweitens, sie wollte daher kompromisslos die einzige Macht und alleinige Macht in Deutschland.
34, ne? 34. So they were never made any secret of what they wanted.
Wir mussten als Partei in der Minorität bleiben, weil wir die wertvollsten Elemente des Kampfes und des Opfersinns in der Nation mobilisierten, die zu allen Zeiten nicht die Mehrheit, sondern die Minderheit ausgemacht haben. Und weil dieser beste Rassenwert der deutschen Nation in einer stolzen Selbsteinschätzung mutig und kühn die Führung des Reiches und Volkes forderte, hat das Volk sich in immer größerer Zahl dieser Führung angeschlossen und unterstellt. Das deutsche Volk ist glücklich in dem Bewusstsein, dass die ewige Flucht der Erscheinungen nunmehr endgültig abgelöst wurde von einem ruhenden Pol.
Oh, big place.
Der sich als Träger seines besten Blutes fühlen und dieses wissend zur Führung der Nation erhoben hat und entschlossen ist, diese Führung zu behalten, wahrzunehmen und nicht mehr abzugeben. Es wird stets nur ein Teil eines Volkes aus wirklich aktiven Kämpfern bestehen. Und ihnen wird mehr gefordert als von den Millionen der übrigen Volksgenossen. Für sie genügt nicht die bloße Ablegung des Bekenntnisses, ich glaube, sondern der Schwur, ich kämpfe. Die Partei wird für alle Zukunft die politische Führungsauslese des deutschen Volkes sein. Sie wird in ihrer Lehre unveränderlich, in ihrer Organisation stahlhart, in ihrer Taktik schmiegsam und anpassungsfähig, in ihrem Gesamtbild aber wie ein Orden sein. Ziel aber muss sein, alle anständigen Deutschen werden Nationalsozialisten. Nur die besten Nationalsozialisten sind Parteigenossen.
Huge place.
Gegner dafür gesorgt, dass durch Verbot und Verfolgungswellen und Zeit zu Zeit die Bewegung wieder ausgekämmt wurde von dem leichten Zeug, das sich bei ihr einzufinden begann. Heute müssen wir selbst Musterung halten und abstoßen, was sich als schlecht erwiesen hat. Und deshalb...
So the common enemy, ne? The allied countries.
Und deshalb innerlich nicht zu uns gehört. Es ist unser Wunsch und Wille, dass dieser Staat und dieses Reich bestehen sollen in den kommenden Jahrtausenden.
1000 years
Wir
empire.
können glücklich sein zu wissen, dass diese Zukunft restlos uns gehört. Wenn die älteren Jahrgänge noch wanken werden könnten, die Jugend ist uns verschrieben und verfallen mit Leib und mit Seele. Nur dann, wenn wir in der Partei durch unser aller Zutun die höchste Verkörperung des nationalsozialistischen Gedankens und Wesens verwirklichen, wird sie eine ewige und unzerstörbare Säule des deutschen Volkes und Reiches sein. Dann wird einst neben die herrliche, ruhmreiche Armee
Glorious army.
den alten, stolzen Waffenträgern unseres Volkes, die nicht minder traditionsgefestigte politische Führung der Partei treten. Und dann werden diese beiden Einrichtungen gemeinsam den deutschen Menschen erziehen und festigen und auf ihren Schultern tragen den deutschen Staat, das deutsche Reich.
Military and state will educate and lead.
In dieser Stunde verlassen schon wieder Zehntausende von Parteigenossen die Stadt, während aber die einen noch von der Erinnerung zehren, werden andere schon wieder beginnen zu rüsten zum nächsten Appell. Und wieder werden die Menschen kommen und gehen und stets aufs Neue ergriffen, beglückt und begeistert sein. Denn die Idee und die Bewegung sind Lebensausdruck unseres Volkes und damit ein Symbol des Ewigen. Es lebe die nationalsozialistische Bewegung, es lebe Deutschland!
Okay. So
He said many times, happy.
es lebe. No, actually, long live. Not happy. It's a long live. He's looking at the future. He's making a 1,000-year empire, and he's making appeal to the people who are there. Many of them, they are at the beginning of the movement. They are not just members. They don't just believe in the message. They don't believe in the mission of the NSDAP, the National Social Democratic Party. They believe. They are not only believers; they are fighters for that goal, because they have the blood of the superior German race. They are young, they are vital, and they are the forefront of the German Empire. So they should feel very good about themselves.
But he talking about much. He talking about not so much contents.
No. Well, actually, I'm very surprised that
Just
he's
emotional.
absolutely. He's a storyteller, right? So he's creating this huge story that people are part of something much bigger than themselves. They are the chosen ones. They are not only followers of the message. They are willing to fight for it. so they can become part of something big, grandiose, something bigger. So they need to dedicate themselves, and the state, the system will lead them. So they have been defeated. They have been humiliated. They have a common enemy. But now there is somebody who's telling them they are of superior blood. They have a cause. They can become the carriers, the forefighters of a new identity, and something that's much bigger than themselves. They just need to follow the leadership and contribute to the National Social Democratic Party, and they can become they can basically rise above themselves. This is a.
By the way, do we have a kind of so huge meeting place in Europe? More than 10,000.
Oh, sure.
More
Sure,
than 10,000.
stadiums like they're everywhere nowadays.
In-house.
In-house. So I think this is Berlin.
Not many places. More than 10,000.
It's big, but I mean,
maybe like kind of arena or some big event.
Right. We have huge churches and cathedrals and places like that, but this is not.
10,000?
No, cannot fit that many.
I think more than that.
But now look at the other one, Toyo.
What is this?
Speech from Toyo.
What is this Toyo?
Toyo. He was the
Tojo.
Tojo.
戦線のご消直が間髪せられました。精鋭なる帝国陸海軍は今や決死の戦いを行いつつあります。東亜全局の平和はこれを念願する帝国のあらゆる努力にもかかわらず、ついに決裂のやむなきに至ったのであります。本来政府はあらゆる手段を尽くし、対米国交調整の成立に努力してまいりましたが、彼は従来の主張を一歩も譲らぬのみならず、かえって英蘭氏と連合して皆より我が陸海軍の無条件全面撤兵、南京政府の否認、一独位三国条約の破棄を要求し、帝国の一方的譲歩を強要してまいりました。これに対し帝国はあくまで平和的妥結の努力を続けましたが、米国は何ら反省の色を示さず今日に至りました。もし帝国にして彼らの供与に屈従せんか、帝国の権威を失墜し、地な事変の完遂を期せざるのみならず、ついには帝国の存立をも期待に陥らしむる結果となるのであります。
Recently, the little bit
こ
difficult word we don't
と
use.
ここに至りましては、帝国は
But I wanted to show this snippet of video to give a comparison between the level of how to say, in Germany it required a person like Hitler. Without him, I don't think this would ever have happened.
Japan is they don't speak out kind of speech in front of audience.
Right.
Huh?
Right. This is probably radio broadcast.
Radio broadcast.
Yeah. It's not right in front of the audience. It's not. It doesn't play out. It plays out completely different. Nonetheless,
Japanese is more easy to persuade because of Confucianism. They don't need to get together. They one way, announcement.
Everybody knows what to do.
Everybody knows what to do. And European people, American people, they never do that. Get together and communicate.
They get together. They get into a kind of frenzy, and they
Kinship. That's the reason American election, right? Japanese election not like that.
No.
Right? It's
No,
so
this-
crazy get together everybody many times. Right?
Right. Right.
So Japanese very simple, is very easily. Kind of now, even now, they are very easily to be controlled.
Mm.
And just you, if you have a title, and with title you can make order, they will follow.
Mm.
Right?
Right.
This is very convenient people.
Right. Yeah, but terrifying for the United States and for actually the Allied nations, because they really felt like.
Like for example, even Japan, they don't have a title, nobody follow. Right?
Right. Actually, I wanted to go back to the very first beginning, and this is actually something that what he said is very interesting. Oh, by the way, they are not the same guys, this one and the guy that was presenting the philosophy of Plato. That's his brother.
What? They have really?
Yes.
Not John Green?
No, it's not John Green. This is what's it? Hank Green.
Yeah, really?
Really. They're not the same guy. It's his brother. I also thought, huh?
Very similar.
So maybe they're twin brothers. I don't know, but
Oh,
they're very
yeah.
similar.
Really?
I wanted to show you how he starts his remarks, because I think that is actually something that is not very often understood by Japanese people, or different interpreted. But this is the general opinion, I think, of most Western people.
But we're not going to look at it as a battle between good and evil, but instead as a war for resources, particularly a war for food. Wait, Mr. Green, what about like Rosie the Riveter and Pearl Harbor and Nazis and Hitler? Yeah, I mean, from the past, if the question is, was Hitler evil, then yeah. But evil people generally can't, cause massive world wars on their own. So instead of talking about, the personality-driven model of history, I want to talk about resources, specifically my favorite.
Evil. I think that a lot of people in Western world thoroughly believe that they were right and Japan and Germany were wrong. They were evil. That's the general understanding if you are engaging with foreigners, and and you talk about history. And I really realized this, that a lot of people, Japanese people, when they are engaging with foreigners, especially Westerners, who firmly believe that Japan was evil during World War II.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just even still now, I believe Japanese military, cabinet, they evil. Okay. And but if you consider for the emperor's statement, this statement is not evil. Do you know that? I will show you the other one. Maybe you know that. This one tomorrow I'm going to do that.
Oh.
Imperial discipline of education. Not this one. Sorry. This one. Do you know this?
No.
Or do you don't know? Oh, this one. Oh, this one. This one is the Japanese for education. This one is actually. This English is we are talking about basic for education. Nothing wrong, but
When was this addressed? This speech?
This statement is Meiji era.
Right.
And what Westerners criticize is this place.
So a few things that never questions is their superiority of democracy and the fact that they were right during World War II.
Oh, this place is Westerners criticized.
So shall ye not only be our good and faithful
Subject.
Uh-huh.
Lender.
Right. So.
But this is nothing wrong. But I explain economists, people, but they hate this. But we discard it. But this is just remained, educational way of method.
So our subjects be filial to our parents, affectionate to our brothers and sisters, and husbands and wives be harmonious, as friends true, bear yourselves in modesty and moderation, extend your benevolence to all, pursue learning and cultivate arts, and thereby develop intellectual faculties, and perfect moral powers. Furthermore, advance public good, promote common interests, always respect the Constitution and observe the laws. Should emergency arise, offer yourselves courageously to the state, and thus guard and maintain the prosperity of our imperial throne, coeval with heaven and earth. So shall ye not only be our good and faithful subjects, but render illustrious the best traditions of our forefathers. So this, basically, you could interpret this as okay, you need to dedicate yourself to the state. You need to dedicate yourself, like you said, like a Confucian Confucian theory is telling us to actually be good to our filial piety. Be good to your
this
brothers
is
and your sisters.
background of Japanese people obedience to the emperor and to the organization.
Right, and so this was basically used to point a finger at the role of the emperor to put the blame for World War II, basically starting World War II in the Pacific.
This one, but I think we had better revive these sentences again. Try to educate this one. Filial piety.
Right.
We lost it. Believe each other and unity.
Right. So that obviously will create a conflict, because that it is believed that this kind of attitude, that the dedication to the state and follow and be prepared to sacrifice yourself for the emperor and for the state as a act of basically fighting for each other, or standing by your brother, by your parents, following on. It was also used to mobilize the Japanese to go to war, right? So then the question is, how can we prevent that to happen, even though while we restore this spirit? That's probably why there is so much opposition, and why they try to re-educate, try to change the education in Japan after World War II.
On this background, we have lots of heritage, not only one paper.
Right.
But all heritage they try to discard.
Right, because basically it created the mentality for people to follow whatever their emperor would. So whoever got to control the emperor was capable of moving them in any direction.
This morning I teach this. This morning I try to teach in Japanese space, right?
Right.
I'm taught in Takahashi.
Right.
And this one is background of this education is very strict. Like emperor never happened like a woman affair, and never consider for wrong idea thinking.
Of course. Well,
ordinary people doing always wrong thinking, right?
Right. Yeah, but it's okay. He's the emperor, and if something, I mean, basically, I would never want to be in the emperor's shoes, because he has no freedom to do whatever.
Right. But this is very important. So we should understand his.
Yeah, but so that also means like the emperor doesn't have any freedom. So it is the emperor is lived by other people. We need to understand that by following the emperor, we are not following the emperor. We're actually following the people who the emperor needs to follow in order to follow the tradition. So that the risk, I think, for this, because we're talking about the role of the emperor and the emperor as the carrier of the Japanese country.
Recently, I understand different thinking approach. Emperor, he is not try to govern, or he tried to occupy.
No.
He tried to get everything else. No, he just heritage for 2,000 years.
Yes,
And
you need to protect
generation by generation, he did the same thing.
Right.
Tradition.
Right. But he was not the actual leader. It was not the emperor who came up with the policies and whatever. He was being
This is just what
controlled.
big thing is generation by generation. I don't know how many generations he passed by, but he did do the same thing, whatever he like or he does not like
Right.
it. But he just continue for 2,000 years.
Right.
This is a tremendous thing.
Right.
What they have done.
Right.
So this is what I'm talking about. You need to get to know what he's doing every day. Like currently we have YouTube live. He should be live whole day. Wake up until sleep. Very respectful. But nobody knows.
Well, we all know that he's very, very busy, and that he has a lot of duties, and he needs to
Oh, you know that?
contribute a lot of
Yeah.
like a Shinto rites and activities. So he's very busy. I believe that most Japanese people know that. The point is that basically by this kind of, even though I completely understand it, we also need to understand like the story behind it, because by letting the Japanese people follow the emperor because he is a good person and he's actually doing very diligently what they've been doing for 2,000 years, and thereby we allow this tradition to continue, and it forms the backbone of our society. But actually there is a complete world behind it. That is the world who is actually controlling the emperor. So, and that is a little bit scary, because who are they?
Oh, what do you mean? Who are they?
Well, who are they? Who are the people who control the emperor?
Nobody controls it.
Well, that I don't believe.
Nobody controls. This is generation by generation. Emperor is emperor.
Right, but he needs to maintain his position, right? The emperor, he's a playboy of all kinds of politics that are happening behind.
The same thing for Trump won. Who's control it? Nobody control it. That's the reason he could be president.
Right, but I think the
Well,
emperor
you know what I mean?
is a different story, no?
No, same. Do you know what I mean? This is
He had nobody had him in their pocket.
No. This is a system. This is a system. Cannot change it. Trump or Republican system cannot change it. The course of Trump, the way to be president. This is a pitfall. On the way, okay, they tried to take him out, but
Right.
they couldn't, because this is a pitfall system. Emperor system is established.
Right.
And he made a child, and child made child, and they cannot change it for 1,000 years. This is tradition. Who control? No, nobody control the system. You should do this. You should do this, and the current government or any kind of organization, certain level of money, try to give to their family, and try to protect him, and try to organize their system. They should know this, should not do this, they should do this. This is very strict.
But don't you feel that actually that by either supporting, going in favor or against the emperor, people basically played out their own political
democracy. Democracy. Okay, Trump want to do
Takara.
invade. No. Trump tried to invade judiciary. He cannot. He tried to invade parliament. No, he cannot. Okay, executive order. Executive. So he can do it. This is democracy. and the emperor is the same. You can do it, you cannot do it. And you can speak out, you can go into the join the TV show. No, you cannot. Can you go outside? No, you cannot go outside. Just in the case of like a special case. So very restricted, just system.
Right. No. So what I'm trying, what my thesis is that the emperor as an institute is not being questioned. This kind of writing, assuming that the translation is correct, encourages people in Japan to follow the emperor. That is
not anymore now.
Not anymore, but basically, and there is because it's the tradition. It is togetherness. It's just like your family, your village, your country, your emperor. That's all the same. It's all connected. But actually, the emperor in itself is a non-political figure. There are people behind the emperor who are in support of the position of the emperor, or who are contesting the role of the emperor. Everybody in history in Japan, as far as I understand, always needed the support of the emperor in order to sustain themselves. But it was the strongest political party behind that that actually got to govern the country.
It's a very interesting thing. I just how come we have monarchy system, but this is traditionally they continue year by year for 2000,
right?
And everybody follow the system. Not eliminate. It means didn't killed by like a soldiers, and existed in Japan at Kyoto.
They needed it.
This is actually sort of unbelievable thing in the human being history.
Because he became like a kind of like, well, this is maybe a bit strange, but he's almost like a supernatural being, right?
Exactly. So, for example, the concept of Europe and China and anywhere else is always, emperor was kind of imperialism disappeared. Roman Empire and disappeared, but the Japanese emperors they didn't disappear.
Right.
This is just.
And I think that's also very smart politics from the side of the emperors. They are very important, but there's always needs to be a balance. They need to be in the center, but in themselves they don't have an army. They don't have.
No.
Exactly. So they need to be supported. So by putting this text on the emperor in itself is not contested. The Americans didn't take the emperor out, but it's what's behind it. What people believe by supporting the emperor is actually they're supporting the people who support the emperor, and we don't know who that is. So the emperor is being hijacked for a different goal, and that is very obscure, not very clear. Who is the power behind the emperor?
No power.
And
but this is just for me just mysterious.
I doubt it, because basically, like when we talked about the period leading up to
what kind of power that you consider for 2,000 years?
Well,
many eras, many periods.
Yes, okay. So basically, you had so we had the Bakufu, and the emperor, and we had like the influence of the Kyushu area that tried to move to Tokyo, right? Then there were factions. People were divided, but there was one group sided with the emperor, the other ones against it, the emperor. But the emperor was basically, if we say the Japanese people need to follow the emperor, basically they also support the party who is actually supporting the emperor, right? So that's but actually, so the emperor becomes so everybody needs to
just
once again
before
in favor.
main distillation, but beforehand
Right.
Nothing happened like that.
Yeah, I don't know
Mm,
but I would be surprised if it didn't happen, because it seems so obvious in Japan that you either you're in favor, or so you have your conflict with other landlords, or other landlords, and you need the role of the emperor cannot be omitted. That's a central role in Japan. That's also the heart of the Japanese people.
Maybe Kyushu area people utilize emperors, the
Right.
house of emperor, and they made restoration. But coincidentally, Kyushu tried to take emperor's family to their side. But Baku might be get the support emperor's house, and maybe they could, but result they didn't. Right.
Right.
But my question is, how come they continue the house of emperor for 2,000 years? This is very strange.
Because I don't think they can actually survive without a royal family. The Japanese people would not accept it. I think because it is so deeply ingrained in Japan, so you need to be on the side of the emperor, because nothing is stronger than the emperor, because of the institution, because of what the Japanese
Consider
people...
for Russian Tsar, everybody family killed by revolution. And French revolution, the same.
Right.
Every country is the same.
Yes, okay, but the Tsar led Russia. First of all, the Tsar was not a benevolent ruler of the country, not at all. He led his country.
But I'm very strange feeling is, how come Japanese emperor for 2,000 years is kind of sort of person is coming out?
Because he's not really. There is a separation of the role of the emperor and actually the ruling of the country. The Tsar was a single person who was the head of the state, and also was
let's see many emperors, right, for 2,000 years.
Right.
Some of those are terribly idiot. They should be.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Crazy guys.
Right.
But still, they sustain the house.
Right.
How they continue?
Because they were being controlled by others. That's the only answer.
Who's controlling?
Well, whoever wanted the favor and wanted to side with them, because whoever is on the side with the emperor, whoever can represent the emperor, needs for that to continue, because that's how they get their influence. I would be very, very surprised if this was not completely, for 2,000 years of the result of political games going on over the backs of the members of the royal family.
Maybe somebody answer for me, but I never heard about this. But I tell the truth is, Japanese has dignity because of we have emperor, and our emperor is not like the other countries, top people. This is special, very different.
Right, also because they're not really rulers, right? So they don't lead their country to war. They are more of a spiritual leader.
Exactly, it's spiritual, but actually more spiritual.
Right.
It means from born till die, they do not have freedom.
Right.
No freedom.
Right.
This is and food is also they specify food. They can eat whatever he wants. Very strange, right?
Our king dines at McDonald's.
Cannot eat it.
No.
They cannot eat calories, right? The specific food they need to eat.
Right.
I tell you, from born till die, that's the reason why princess is got some mental disease he got, because no free.
Nothing, not at all.
Right.
Not at all.
So kind of.
But I think by giving the emperor this role as a spiritual superior human being that everybody looks up to, because they live that life, they dedicate themselves for the Japanese people, they keep that system alive as a beacon that everybody can aspire to. That is why they could sustain themselves for 2,000 years, because they were not engaged in politics. They were not engaged. They did not lead. They did not decide about war or peace.
Another question is, why he's doing the repeating Japanese tradition for more than 2,000 years. Same thing they are doing every day. They are busy and they try to communication with God, right?
Right. It's like a monk, right? It's
This is monk. That is a monk. Usually, the Buddhist monk is very spiritual.
But also, they are actually the emperor actually performs rites similar like a monk, right? Shinto rites, yeah.
It's extreme type of monk.
Right.
So Buddha is the same, and Zen is the same. So very spiritual he has. He can communicate. Maybe he can communicate with the former emperors. I don't know, but he is doing something. But nobody knows, right? Otherwise, just unbelievable. Just he's doing the same. He's doing at the small area, right? He cannot go outside, and from the morning till night until sleep, he's very busy for communicating with God or some play. It's unbelievable, right? What they're going to do? Almost none of those people they don't know what he's doing. But what I'm telling is we should know that this is a Japanese spirit, right? If Japanese people recognize what he's doing, I think we must understand, Shinto, Buddhism, and spiritual issues and Confucianism. We need to study more mental, attitude. And still now, Japanese is different compared with the other rest of the world. Different from American.
Yeah, their adherence to Japanese culture and their collective approach to following the group doesn't seem to come from any religious perspective, does it? Religion doesn't play a major role in what defines you as a Japanese.
This is what my concern is. Everybody doesn't recognize Japanese spiritual, religious spirits, but we have a very strong heritage. But many people then do not recognize.
Right, but it doesn't. Just like in Europe, it doesn't play a major role. Protestantism, Catholicism doesn't play a majaj role, but it defines the culture.
Yeah,
the history defines the culture. That's the same.
For example, your culture, but speaking Japanese culture, but Japanese culture is big difference, big gap among Europe and America. It's just big heavy tradition, heavier than Europe. But Japanese people recently they do not recognize big differences. Why Japanese politics like that? Why their people is of course their information is very limited, but their culture is strongly different from Europe. Europe they have tradition and conservative, orthodox, and Japanese people feeling inferior than them. But you must recognize you have 2,000 years of history, but just only the one country in the world. So you must restudy what Japanese people did, or emperors, House of Emperor did 2,000 years. You need to reconsider what you have done. So this is everybody forgot it, but fundamentally they have it at the culture. And you consider for the Meiji Restoration and defeated World War II, and Japanese people 180 degrees they turn around, so right?
That's your cultural heritage.
Heritage. So they have that have heritage, that they have a big pride, unconsciously.
Speaking of religion, like religion is not very very strict. Like in Europe it really divided whether you're Catholic or Protestant. That divided people. Very strict in what you do and do not believe, because there are very clear institutes. Like the Protestant church was strong, the Catholic Church probably even stronger, depending on where you were. But they very clearly divided. Okay, this is good. This is not good. This is allowed. This is not allowed. So they dictated life. In Japan, religion was much more, how to say, it's not very strict. It had elements of Buddhism, elements of Shintoism. There was not a church or a monk or whoever told you to do this or that or the other. It seems
Okay, it's one phenomenon I tell you. Why China against Japanese Prime Minister visiting Yasukuni Shrine?
Mhm.
This is because they envy Japan. This is Yasukuni Shrine is a Shinto, right? Shrine. So just only the one country in the world kind of system they have. So Prime Minister should visit Yasukuni Shrine for consider for Japanese dignity. But they just envy Japanese dignity. They don't have it. Okay? But Japanese people could not clearly recognize our dignity.
I-
But
I'm not sure,
I
but
tell
I agree
you,
with-
Yasukuni Shrine is Japanese spirits. Okay, spirits of Japan. The spirit of Japan is we need to forget your tradition. So if you have tradition, if you have strict tradition, it's automatically you can have dignity, right? So this is very important for Japanese people. That's the reason why Prime Minister should go into Yasukuni Shrine. They are talking about World War II criminals. No, that's not the true reason. They envy Japanese people. They try to eliminate Japanese tradition.
I don't think that's true.
But Japanese tradition is very heavy things they should have, even if the American military forget.
Okay, there's a little bit of both, I guess. I think there's a little bit of both. I think that but since people we cannot tell whether they're authentic and truthful when they say, oh, we are adhering to our tradition, or they're actually trying to gain the support of the more reactionary and nationalistic Japanese who feel that they should pay respect whoever died for Japan because they fought for their country. We don't know.
Okay, but tomorrow I'm going to make a speech for them. What is Japanese democracy? Okay, many people talking about democracy, about freedom of speech and election, and people by people. How to manage the government should manage by people, to the people. No. Fundamentally, you have tradition. It's fundamental, structure of Japanese tradition.
Culture.
So heavy, more than culture. So if you're going to talking about democracy, but democracy is different from America, different from Europe. Your democracy is different, right? The British democracy is what's happened. They actually Brexit. Why they Brexit occurred? This is their much more wealthy money focused on London. Local people neglected. That's the reason local people are against capital, right? That's called Brexit. It's sort of behind, unbalanced, and unbalancing is happened. Italy is the same. America is the same. Many people, local people, frustrating, and big city like Los Angeles, New York is prosperity they have, but how about the local people? They are poor. Right? South people is blue collar people. They lost job. Who's taking care of those people? But Japan is not like that. Nothing. Why? This is tradition.
But that is nothing to do with it. Does that translate back to democracy, or does that translate to basically whatever the ruling parties have been doing for their people in order to make sure that these kinds of disparities would not occur?
Exactly. I just study hard for that democracy much. Then I get to know what's the difference for the democracy. Japan is democracy, America democracy, okay, and European democracy. What's the difference each other? Big differences. Okay, government control the press. No freedom for press.
Right.
Government complain the press. You should not doing that, not doing that. But this is different from the United States. They are free for
Right.
place. Everybody free,
Checks and balances.
check and balances.
Mm.
But Japan is controlled. But what's wrong for this kind of government controlling so things? Yeah, okay, just
Okay,
democracy.
so what? So
Oh,
basically, your point is not so much the system. Okay, the result of that system and whether the society in the United States is really preferable over the society in Japan. That depends also who you are and where you stand. If you really believe in yourself as an individual and you want to express yourself, and that weighs more than, for example, material wealth distribution, then maybe you would say the American system is better for me. But on the other hand, if you are just want to live your life and want to be happy and keep your family okay and make sure that you can send your children to university and you want to have affordable health care, Japanese system might be just as well. But it
Yeah,
depends on where you stand in the
But this
system.
is I think what is the fundamentally difference is not democracy. It's culture, not simply we cannot say culture.
Right,
We
that-
have
I-
better say
that-
tradition.
So it's not the system. It's not the political
I
system.
can say clearly what it is, but this is a reciprocal or how many years continuing.
Inclusive or
Inclusive
exclusive. I mean,
history and-
the American system is very
Heritage.
exclusive. It's
Heritage.
aimed
Heritage.
at creating incentives for individuals to excel and exceed, and want people to people who do that, the people who drive the economy, bring success to the Americans. What they want them to benefit. So they created a system of incentives, but the incentive in Japan lies not in the individual, but in the collective.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So Japanese, they don't have individual.
Right.
They always a collective. Okay, this is big difference.
Right.
In the world,
But the same system.
only Japan is collective.
Right. But the same system.
Yes.
The same democracy. But the democracy, as a result of the different culture, the democracy plays out differently.
Yes, right. So only Japan is big difference.
So Japanese democracy, as such, is not inferior or superior. Japanese democracy is Japanese democracy because of the Japanese culture. That's how it plays out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this Japanese culture is big difference
Right.
compared with the other country.
Right.
So if we Japanese try to go and get into globalization, this is impossible. Cannot communicate with European people,
Hmm.
right?
Well, I mean, we can communicate, so why wouldn't other people be able to communicate?
No, it takes usually Japanese people cannot speak English, just cannot make communication with European people.
Hmm.
It's even if why we cannot communicate.
Well, I mean,
talking about detail about
I mean,
that.
the actual communication will be enabled within 5 to 10 years. We will be able to do. I will be able to speak in Dutch to you, and you will be instant translated in Japanese. I don't think that the technology will solve that problem.
I think my why I'm going to this school, because I think Japanese people recently, I believe forever Japanese people difficult to communicate with European people.
I don't think that will be a language barrier. It's more like, okay, in which well did you grow up?
Of course, language is a base fundamental.
Yeah, sure, but I mean that problem will be solved.
Even if I try to talking with you any kind of aspect of issues, but always it's have difficulty to understand each other. Many
Well,
cases.
we have to make clear to people what their vision of the reality is, and we cannot assume there's nothing wrong about the Japanese viewpoint. It's just it's different reality. The United States, people in the United States believe that the world is as theirs, but it's not, because their world is different from the European world. So
if I don't going to speak at the emperor's 2,000 years, even I do not recognize history of emperor's house of history, right? And more than that, you're never thinking about Japanese culture behind the scene. Emperors existing and existed, but very difficult to understand what kind of influence to the Japanese society. Also, I didn't recognize without discussion with non-Japanese people. It's difficult to. What a so they, oh, by the way, why we have different from America? Why do we different from Europe? In the background is very deep, gap we have. But almost all Japanese, they do not recognize those gaps. They don't recognize why we have difficulty to communicate with European people, American people, and the Japanese newspaper don't treat it. Because Japanese newspapers, the journalists, they cannot speak English, right? So this is a big problem that I'm recently thinking about.
Yeah, but there are still...
So this kind of message you understand, right? But tomorrow I need to speak to Japanese people and 30s, 40s years old people. It's very difficult. How to...
I think the bigger problem, Uno-san, is maybe not English. The bigger problem is really the cultural difference between people who come from a culture where filial piety plays a very important role, where you need to focus on your family, and then focus on your company, on your village, on the country, and people who come from a culture where it is me. I need to be strong. I need to be tough, and there are opportunities for people like me. And if I bring success, then all the material wealth will flow to me, and then I'm entitled. I'm a success. But it's not like that in this culture. So it's a completely different way of thinking, and it's very, very fundamental, because it starts with me, or it starts with an entitlement, or it starts with contribution. Like, okay, my role in this society is to contribute, to make sure that the people who came before me are looked after, and make sure that my children can sustain themselves. So you're more of a link in a long chain that has a long history, and that's your role, and that's you need to keep everybody on board, because that's the system. That's what you work for. So that complete, but that concept, the different concept, is so fundamental that it completely determines how you think, how you feel. The entitlement, like Trump, is impossible that a person like that would come from Japan. Impossible. Absolutely. The way that he thinks, the way that he acts, the speaks, stuff, you kind of understand him. I learned a lot today, but that is the kind of person you will encounter, and it's not you don't understand each other because you speak a different language, because you have a completely different starting point.
It's fundamentally, I think we need to study the kind of, not culture, it's kind of a human being fundamental issues.
Right. That's what we're going to do next week, when we're going to speak about philosophy.
Oh, you're going
right.
to? You are studying something like that?
Yeah. I'm studying a lot.
Are you preparing
philosophy.
something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How about ask Takahashi? She's just patient for 4 hours.
Yes.
Today he did not
Takahashi-san,
speak
sumimasen. We have been talking a lot. What is your takeaway for
so he
from
should,
today's?
Oh, you should say something. You be patient for hours. Unbelievable. You should say something for emperor.
Too long to make takeaway.
Right. I'm glad that I don't have to do it myself. I was very intrigued by what Uno-san said about Trump and what he's trying to do, and what he's trying to do in the Middle East, in Israel. That's it is an interesting theory. I never thought about it. I really I would be pleasantly surprised if that is his goal. I'm always skeptical because I really just don't like the guy, so I'm prejudiced. I'm also I like Obama, so I'm also prejudiced in that way. I need to admit it. So I never give any credit to whatever Trump does or thinks or says, but I think that's a pitfall. That's a pitfall that we cannot fall into. Whether you personally like somebody or not doesn't mean that he or she cannot have good ideas. So who knows? But I'm very worried actually if he will become successful and disintegrating every form of fundamental international cooperation between nations, because I think that will bring a war much closer. But now I'm doing the talking.
Sorry, you.
So, but now I am doing the talking, not you.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, it's been enough. Umu-san, do you have any closing remarks?
Okay, next week.
Monday.
Oh, Monday. We're going to have Monday. I'm going to start Spirits of Japan Monday.
Are you going to start Spirits of Japan? Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So you're going to show something.
So no, actually, I'm going to continue with the Marshall Plan and the Cold War.
Marshall Plan?
Oh.
Oh, still have something?
Right, Marshall Plan, Cold War, and the student movement.
Oh, okay. So you're going to Marshall Plan, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. No
will you join on Monday, Takashi-san?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Monday, Marshall Plan.
7時半
Japanese time.
Okay.
All right.
あ、そうだ。7時半 Japanese time.
So Japanese time. So I love this thing, Uno-san. What is it? Is it Japanese?
Yeah, not Japanese.
American?
I don't know.
It's very good.
Yeah, very good. You like it?
I like it.
I don't give it to you.
No. That's not why I say it. I really like how this is made. Maybe it's a Leatherman?
Nothing like it. This is, I think, something famous one.
Yeah, maybe it's a Leatherman. It looks like a Leatherman.
Yeah, they have
American made.
Originally, they have leather back here.
Right.
And it's supposed to be very expensive or very expensive.
Yeah. No, I think it's a Leatherman. Probably it's a Leatherman.
Currently, what I'm doing is
just crack it.
Yeah,
that's from
crush it.
Hanamasa.
Yeah, that's right. This is very good. But and this one, that also I have special knife, and very. Oh, what's this is special knife. This is usually I don't touch it. This one.
Wow.
This one, don't touch it.
It's actually oof. But how do you use it? For what?
No, I bought this one. Some in the States. Don't touch it. It's
Maniac.
just very easy to cut finger.
But this one is illegal in Japan, eh?
Not illegal, but too sharp.
Right.
Don't touch, easily to cut the finger. Very easy. I mistaken to touch it and cut finger. This one is very dangerous. Okay.
So I will mind my words a little bit more.
Also, my family has sword.
Katana?
Yeah. But this is my father's, remnants. Okay, anyway, Monday morning we're going to have the continuation, but still he has Marshall Plan.
Yes, Marshall Plan and the Cold War, how it relates to Cold War and the student movement.
Okay. It's good.
All right. Thank you very much for joining, Takahashi-san. お疲れ様です。
See you Monday.
Yes, see you Monday.
Okay. This. I need to prepare something for tomorrow, but I need to go for